Hey guys, welcome to University of Pattern Drafting. My name is Umo and this is the concluding part of our tutorial on how to draft overbust cupped corsets. If at this point you're not subscribed to the channel, please ensure that you pause and hit the subscribe button because I'm going to be uploading the concluding part of this tutorial on the channel and you do not want to miss it. So on to the cotton video. Here are my shell fabrics. I'm using this plain red fabric as well as the checkered vintage fabric for this corset. I'm using taffeta as my lining, and then you can see my cups as well as my boning and all the other things. Okay, so I've gone ahead to iron estay to my shell fabrics. I iron estay before I cut because I don't want a situation whereby after I have cut and I'm ironing estay to the pattern pieces or to the fabric pieces, the heat of the iron would now make the fabric stretch, and then it's not the same size as the original pattern, so it's better to just iron it before you start to cut. Okay, so these are my pattern pieces. Remember that I had included my allowances on this pattern pieces. If you have not watched how I included allowances onto this fabric, onto this pattern pieces, please ensure that you check the description box for a link to the pattern drafting video. Okay, so I'm pinning my pattern pieces in place just so that it doesn't move around or shake when I am trying to cut. So that's panel 1. Panel 1 is supposed to be cut on the fold, as you can see. So panel 1 is on the fold, and then this is panel 2 that I am pinning onto the fabric right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut. Remember that I already included allowances, so I don't need to include allowance as I am cutting right now. So remember that is on the fold and we're cutting exactly around the pattern paper. So that's panel 1. I'm going ahead to cut panel 2. So you're going to do this for all of the panel pieces. So I'll go ahead and do this for all of the other panel pieces. And also, just as a side note, the design for my corset is going to comprise of 2 different fabrics, this plain red fabric and then the vintage checkered fabric. So some of the panels are, I'm going to cut some of the panels from this plain red fabric, and then some are going to be cut from the checkered vintage fabric. I think this is the last panel, this is panel 5. So I think I eventually used the checkered fabric to cut panel 5 because of the design that I was trying to achieve. So just do this for all of your panel pieces, and then so this portion is going to be cut with the checkered fabric. So I think I'm using this for panel 3 and 4, and I want the pattern to appear diagonal, so I am going to cut it on bias. So this is how to cut on bias. So I folded it to be sort of like 45 degrees. So this is how I'm placing the pattern pieces, just so that the check boxes appear diagonal. Opening my pattern pieces in place so that it doesn't shift when I'm cutting. So this is panel 4, and then this is panel 3. So same thing, I'm just going to go ahead and cut without any form of allowance, since there's already allowance on the pattern paper. So these are all my pattern pieces. So that's panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, panel 4, and then the 5th panel. So this is sort of like the design that I was trying to achieve. Can you see? Have you noticed that the squares are diagonal? So this is what I was trying to achieve. So now I'm going to go ahead and work on the cup first, and then the modesty panel. So first off, for the cup, I'm going to increase my cup size, because I don't want it to be so immodest. There's any word like that. So I'll show you a video on how I drafted the pattern for the new cup. So this is the modesty panel that I'm trying to cut. The other edge not the edge that will be inserted in between the body of the corset, but the other edge. I cut the other edge on fold, so you can actually cut the other edge on fold. You can decide to cut it on fold or cut it decide not to cut it on fold. So also remember, for this one there's allowance all the way around, so I don't need to include any form of allowance. I'll just cut the exact thing. So again, pin your patterns in place so that it doesn't shift when you're trying to cut. Doesn't shift when you're trying to cut, and then go ahead and cut every single thing. Okay, so this is the end of the cutting video. The next video that I will be uploading is the video on how I drafted a new pattern for my cup, and then how I wrapped the cup and all of that. So I'm sure you want to see that. Ensure that you subscribe if you are not subscribed at this point. Like, seriously, how? Ensure that you subscribe, and you can turn on the notification bell so that you would get notified when I upload